My name is David Harwood, and I am a specialist in the area of houses in multiple occupancy, often as known as HMOs. HMO strategies are basically buy-to-let, but with a lot of regulation. But the advantage of HMOs over ordinary buy-to-let properties is that they have superior cash flow. And by cash flow, I'm talking about money in your back pocket. Run correctly, a multiple occupancy property should deliver at least £75 per person per month as a profit. Most of my multiple occupancy properties would generate far in excess of that, but before I consider such a property, that's the level of cash flow that I'm particularly looking for. What is an HMO? Well, an HMO is a property where you've got people that are unrelated, three or more generally, forming two or more households. As a definition, that's what the law says. There are different types of multiple occupancy property. There are unlicensed ones and there are licensed ones. That refers to the amount of regulation that is required in order to run a multiple occupancy property. Because most councils will want to inspect a licensed HMO to make sure they're operating correctly, and there are defined management regulations which are in place, defined under law through the Housing Act 2004. Multiple occupancy properties also have to be extraordinarily safe in terms of buy-to-let. All property, whether buy-to-let or multiple occupancy, will come under what's called the Housing Health and Safety Rating System, HHSRS for short. And in some parts of the country, even ordinary buy-to-let properties are now coming under this type of regulation in health and safety. Most of the properties in the UK will firstly be inspected for damp and cold, and it will move on to fire and other incidences such as those, which make a property unsafe. HMOs do cost more money than ordinary buy-to-let properties, although having said that, if you start small with multiple occupancy, and by small I mean 3 to 5 people on 2 or more floors, then generally across the UK, including Scotland, but not Wales, then those properties will be unlicensed. And those are the best properties to start with, in my opinion. If you go for 3, 4 and 5 people in a property, they're much more easily managed than 6, 7, 8 and up to 10 or even higher. And those types of properties are generally your small terraced houses in areas where you are going to get town centres, where professionals may wish to have temporary residence during the week whilst they're away back at their normal house at weekends. Or if you go to a university town, for instance, or even a large hospital town, where you get nurses, doctors on rotation, and all the way to students who are studying full-time education. Now, the different types of HMOs, student-type HMOs, there's no capital gains tax to pay because full-time students are exempt, which reduces the overall costs of running the property, because in an HMO, for instance, the management of them, the capital gains tax is the responsibility of the landlord, not as in ordinary buy-to-let where it's the responsibility of the tenant. So therefore, running student HMOs has an immediate cash flow benefit to them. You can run multiple occupancy properties, including of bills and exclusive of bills, and you have to do a full range of analysis. All of those elements we cover on the multiple occupancy programme within the scheme. In order to purchase an HMO these days, finances are becoming tighter, but by going down the commercial route or even down some lenders' routes, which your mortgage broker should be able to help you with, you should be able to finance a multiple occupancy in virtually the same way as you can finance any other buy-to-let property. However, you may need to produce a business plan, and the business plans will look at demand in the area for tenants looking for that type of property, all the way down to cash flow and how you're going to repay the mortgage or the loan that you take out on the property. So what about the future developments of multiple occupancy properties? I think the regulation across the country, already in Scotland, and in parts of Wales will become a lot tighter. I think that all properties will become licensed all multiple occupancy properties will become licensed. And for instance, in some parts of South Wales where there are vulnerable tenants in properties, even buy-to-let properties will fall under the same type of regulation as houses in multiple occupancy. So we look at the future developments, we look at the safety of the property, we even look at how you manage a multiple occupancy, because obviously now you're not dealing with one family in a property, you're dealing with multiple tenancies. And you may wish to put those tenancies onto a single tenant tenancy type agreement, or you may wish to go down the multiple tenancy type agreement. All of these facets of multiple occupancy are covered on the 3 days of the 8 houses in multiple occupancy course.